Well, hey folks, back at FREEWING. Well, we're out here at the Avon Park Field going to take up the 90mm F4 Phantom from FREEWING. Take her up, have a little bit of fun. Sorry, Mama had to work, so you got to put up with me in the hat cam. This is going to be the first flight ever on the Phantom with the Ordnance on. Got the
motor on.
KM model afterburner in there.
Prop is secured.
All right. I'll have a little bit of fun with it. Let me put my hat cam back on. But like I say, it's the first time ever flying her with Ordnance. So wish me luck in the rear. Let me get back here to where I know the plane is in frame. Try to keep her in frame. Haven't flown her in a little while, so
take off flaps.
We're going to be do several passes, see how she flies, make sure she's trimmed out, because like I said, I haven't flown this plane in a hot minute. So all right, in my high rates, here we go.
Flaps are up.
I just realized
AS3X mode.
I was in safe.
Heat rates 90. Time remaining 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was in safe. Couldn't figure out why. She's flying pretty good.
Time remaining 2
Now this is the 6S version. I'll be honest, I really can't tell much difference in her performance with or without the tanks.
Retracts deployed. Landing flaps.
Oh, lost a tank.
Cruise mode.
All right, we lost a tank.
Flaps are up.
All right, let's walk down here and get the tank. Yeah, well, it was out of fuel, so I dropped it. Still got 1 minute and 9 seconds, so we can continue on with the flight. But really, I can't notice much. I don't notice much difference with or without the tank on. Now, this is a very calm day, so people say, well, you really shouldn't have to have a little bit of right aileron naturally, but I beg to differ. I've got, as you can see, I've got a little bit of up aileron, right aileron trim over there. She just seems to fly better, and not having any problem with her rolling to one side or the other. So, still got a minute. We'll do this just a real quick up and down. Running a 6000 HRB. Okay. And when I took off the first time, I didn't even realize I was in safe. Didn't even realize it. So, good looking plane, that's for sure. All right, we got enough for one more takeoff and landing.
Takeoff flaps.
Okay. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Flaps are up.
Ah, lost another tank. Must not have the tank on there good.
Retracts deployed. Landing flap 30 seconds. 20 seconds.
All right, we gotta go pick up our tank again. I must not have made sure that they were on there good, but I really didn't notice any real difference. And even when the tank dropped, I may have the wrong tank on the wrong side. I'm not sure. Good flying plane though.
Flaps are up.
I thought I was going to be extremely intimidated by her at first, and I still am to a certain degree. I ain't gonna lie to you. The plane does still kind of scare me a little bit, but it's a good. It is a good flying plane. Just don't get too slow in those turns.
Prop is secured. Safe to approach.
All right, let's get her back to the bench and we'll get you a battery report real quick. All righty, we're back. And as you can see, I kept losing the tanks. I must have just didn't make sure they were perfectly seated because they seem like they're on there pretty good now. Of course, I'm not flying right now. Got the KM model afterburn there, which is beautiful, but kind of bright right now, so you're not going to really see it that well. Battery still has, if I can get it in there. Okay. 41%, so gosh, and I was 4 seconds over
Starting the fun over.
on a 3-minute and 40-second timer. So really, you can set your timer on a 6000, set your timer for 4 minutes, fly the way you want. Because I mean, I wasn't full speed the most time, but you'd probably come back at about 20% left on a 4-minute timer on a 6000, probably 3.5 minutes on a 5000. But let's go over some of the features of the plane. Of course, she's got thrust reverse, as you saw me use. Our runway is only 210 feet, so you really have to plan your runway, which I kind of like that because it makes me as a pilot to have to plan my approach, which you should be doing anyways. You should be thinking, being cognizant of, you know, how the plane reacts, how the plane is going to land, the speed of the plane, and then you have to plan your approach. And with this kind of plane, basically she's a flying brick. So you don't want to get too slow on your turns, otherwise you'll have a very bad day and a big pile of foam out in the field. So you must keep up your speed in your turns, but then you think, well, I'm turning for a final approach, so I can't go that fast. This is why you have to know your plane, and you have to know how it reacts. This is not a plane, it's not a beginner plane, folks. Don't go out and buy an Aero Scout and then think that you can come out here and fly this next, okay? This is like a 15 plane in type experience, okay? All right, well, there you go. We got our battery report. The rates that I flew in today Just now we're my mid-range, which I seem comfortable with. 90% throws with 30% expo. And that is on the elevator rudder, on the elevator and the ailerons. On the rudder, it's still 100%, 30% expo, and that I don't have on dual rates. I just have one setting for rudder. But yeah, and I also did the mod where I took the elevator servo out, glued it back in, anchored it down, made a solid shaft to connect to the, I beefed up the shaft basically that connects the elevator. I've also was able to, when I first put the plane together, I used a servo tester on the stock light in the rudder here and fried it. So I had no light. So I fished that light out, had another light from another crashed plane, fished that in, plugged it in, and now I have a white blinking strobe. The stock is red. I like this white better, and I can't wait for a little bit lower light, and I'm going to see how this looks in the light. So, all right, well, folks, there you go. Let me show real quick. We'll show you the gear. Notice how there's no cheaters on the underside of this plane, which is awesome. No cheaters at all. Oh, try not to hit the pole. Gear does take a small amount of time. Door is sequenced. Everybody's going home, leaving me here by myself. But just a good flying plane. No cheaters. No cheaters at all. So therefore, that makes your reverse thrust very effective. Vulcan is the same way. The Avanti 2 80mm is the same way. If it doesn't have cheaters and it's got thrust reverse, then that thrust reverse is going to be very, very effective. All right, folks. Well, there you go. That was the first flight of the 90mm F4 Phantom with the Ordnance. I dropped the tanks. Well, they were out of fuel, so I dropped them. But there you go. The only mod I've done is I've given her a clear coat, gave her the KM models afterburner, and then I put this little zip tie through the top there. That way I can grab it instead of digging out with my fingers, because they don't always pop up. That way I can grab that instead of the side of the paint, on the side of the hatch, and then destroy the paint with my fingernails. You got to remember, this is all water-based paint. So on these, they're eco-based paint. They're eco-friendly. So you're naturally going to have a little bit of loss to paint if you don't put a clear coat. Clear coat is, I'm sorry, but all these planes, and if you don't want to have that shiny gloss, use a matte finish, okay? And that's mid-wax polyacrylic, acrylic-based. All right, well, y'all have a good one. God bless y'all. That's the F4 Phantom 90mm, the 6S, not the 8S, because you see, this thing covers this field plenty fast on the 6S. 8S would just, I think, would be too much for this field. All right, well, y'all have a good one. God bless y'all. Don't forget, faith, family, and friends. Merry Christmas. God is good, and that is the F4 Phantom. And this is Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from Avon Park Aero Modelers Club. Bye-bye.